Hello friends and greetings for the day. Welcome back to another tutorial on ISTQB Advanced Technical Test Analyst. We are in chapter 5 and continuing with the same topic, that is 5.2 checklist in reviews. And this is the part 2 of this tutorial. We have covered a little more about the same in terms of what exactly checklist is all about and how it can help you to entertain the architectural review, which is from the design point of view. In this tutorial, we'll be talking about the code review. As a part of code review, checklists play a very vital role as a lot of information lies there, and much of the language, project and company specific things can very well be addressed with help of the checklist. Now, checklist, as we know, that it is a standard document at organization level or project specific level, and answers a lot of questions as a part of the questionnaire which you need to respond to while reviewing a work product. And why we are specifically talking about a code review in this tutorial is because the code review plays a vital role for the non-functional testing as well, because a lot of parameters of the quality characteristics relies on the code what is being prepared at a very early stage. So technical test analyst has to contribute in order to make those reviews more successful and also to prompt the development team in order to meet the expectations of upcoming quality characteristics in future. Thus, this tutorial will give you a quick example of what kind of checklist can be used to review different parameters of a code. Further, this tutorial is very straightforward. When I use the word very straightforward, it means that it is just to the point and requires me to read the slide out. So you may experience that I'm just reading the slide out, but yes, it is just that it has to be read. And remember another important thing from this particular tutorial team, that this is an example of the checklist and some of the part of this sample will be asked to you in the examination. So make sure that you just remember that what kind of checklist is used for different parameters of code review, and one of the questions will be directly coming right from there. To start with, the very first one is structure, and the checklist can include: does the code completely and correctly implement the design? Does the code conform to any pertinent code standards? Is the code well structured, consistent in style, and consistently formatted or not? Are there any called or uncalled unneeded procedures or any unreachable dead code? So I think we do know from these of some of the things from the foundation which would be helpful to recall them. Are there any leftover stubs or test routines in the code which may not be required any further? Can any code be replaced by calls to external reusable components or library functions? So that's all about having a calling structure well defined. Is storage use sufficient? Are there any blocks of repeated code that could be condensed into a single procedure? That means, can you further minimize the number of lines so that the performance and other parameters can be further improved? Are symbolic use of rather than magic numbers constant or string constants? So yes, that's another standard which need to be taken care of. Are any modules excessively complex and should be restructured or split into multiple modules? Sometimes you may find that a code is more complex and requires a further modularization, and that's where we make use of modular frameworks. So these are very straightforward questionnaire and checklist example, and we have some more of them. All you need to do is just remember them, as they are very straightforward to be asked in the examination. The second one is documentation. From the point of documentation for a code, we may have checklist including: is the code clearly and adequately documented with an easy to maintain commenting style? That is from the maintainability point of view. Are all the comments consistent with the code? Does that really relate to it? And from point to point, the code is addressing that what the code does. Does the document conform to applicable standards? Because we need to make sure that we are meeting the standards in fact, and should not go beyond that or restrict or conflict with the standards of the coding. Number 3 is variables. When talking about testing or evaluating a variable through a static approach, we have checklists including: are all variables properly defined with meaningful, consistent and clear names? Are there any redundant or unused variables? Now, of course, the unused variables will allocate memories for the performance testing and scalability, and so on. And when you talk about the consistent names or clear names, it generally means to one word, that is standard naming convention at the organization level. Number 4 is arithmetic operations. Does the code avoid comparing floating points, number of equality? Does the code systematically prevent rounding errors? Does the code avoid additions and subtractions on numbers with great different magnitudes? And are divisors tested for zero or noise? So here we are completely talking about the arithmetic operations and making sure that the mathematical errors are avoided when arithmetic operators are being used as a part of your code. So we do make sure that such silly errors are not causing a big outcome. Number 5 is loops and branches. Are all loop, branches and logic constructs complete, correct and properly nested? Are the most common cases nested first in if-else-if chains? Are all cases covered in an if-else-if or case block, including else or default clauses? Does every case statement have a default? All loop termination conditions obvious and invariably achievable? Are indices or subscripts properly initialized just prior to the loop? Can any statements that are enclosed with loops be placed outside the loops? Does the code in the loop avoid manipulating the index variable or using it upon exit from the loop? Now here we are just talking about the conditions and the loops which are being used, because some of the examples we saw in the previous chapter when we were talking about the techniques, that there might be a possibility when you talk about certain codes may have an unreachable code, or maybe a condition is defined in such a way that a particular part of code may never be executed, or a user can never reach to that particular part of it, and that's what you call it as unreachable code of a particular code or program. And that's where we need to make sure while reviewing the code that such exercises is not being performed, and if it is legal or in terms of meeting the expectation, then unreachable and dead blocks must be removed from the code. At last, we are talking about the code reviews in defensive programming. Number 6 is defensive programming, where are indices, pointers and subscripts tested against arrays, record or file bounds? Are imported data and input arguments tested for validity and completeness? Are all output variables assigned? Is the correct data element operated on in each statement? Is every memory allocation released? Are timeouts or error traps used to external devices have access to it? Are files checked for existence before attempting to access them? And are all files and devices left in the correct state upon program termination? We do understand from the defensive point of view that there are some of the protocols which are other than the standards which need to be followed as a part of programming. We generally make sure that there are a lot of such things which might be possible in order to, like the traps or external devices access. So does that really interact with some of the devices, delaying your execution of the program? Or probably some of the things might not check for availability and get into the program and then get stuck. So for example, before retrieving the information, look for a network connectivity is a default standard, and defensive programming which does not let the server to keep engaged in terms of getting the response, whereas the network itself is not available. So we have such simple prerequisites as a command which can be executed before the program can actually be a part of your execution. And all those things will be considered as a part of checklist to be used in the code review. So again team, this is just a straightforward topic talking about some of the sample checklist, but remember, a question will be asked as a part of it, like a subset will be provided to you in order to answer the question. So just remember the checklist from different part of it and you are good to go. So that's all from this particular tutorial team. Should you have anything else, feel free to comment below. I'm there always to address your queries and answer them well. Till then, keep learning, keep exploring, keep understanding the context. Thanks for watching the video team, and happy learning.